Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott MacKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, once again, thank you very much for joining the #1 industrial-related podcast in the universe, all backed up by data that celebrates industry professionals all around the world. Because you're bold, you are brave, you dare greatly, you innovate, you solve problems, and that's why we celebrate you on Industrial Talk. We are broadcasting on site. PowerGen is the location, PowerGen 24, and we're here in New Orleans, Louisiana, and it's a great event. We're right on the floor, and put this on the calendar for 25. If you have not signed up for it, PowerGen 25 is where you want to be. Two people in the hot seat. Clarke, just one second, Clarke Ellis. Oh, come on, Caitlin. deBoer.
You got it right.
Did I? Let's get cracking. My biggest fear is when I see some names and it's like, oh, come on, Scott, please. Sound it out. That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad at all, Caitlin.
Got it on your first try.
I did, thank you. I'm proud of that. You guys having a good conference, Caitlin?
Yeah, it's been busier than we expected. It's our first year here, so it's nice to see the support in the industry.
Why are you here?
We're here to talk about carbon capture on power generation projects, as well as just power generation as a whole industry.
Clarke, you having a good conference?
Yeah, it's good so far. Like Caitlin said, it's been busy. Had a lot of good traffic. Lots of good people to talk to.
Why did you decide that gas liquid engineering, by the way, they're just right across from me so I can look at their booth, is needed to attend this, Caitlin?
Well, over the last few years, the power generation conversation has changed where we need to have reliable and affordable energy, and that's been really a big topic in North America, across all of the U.S. and Canada, and we're really here to keep that conversation moving forward and find solutions.
Can you have reliable and affordable energy all at once?
Well, I think that's the goal. We really need it as
absolutely. God, I agree
as
with
consumers.
You. Yeah, yeah. I don't want to pay more.
Nobody wants to pay more. Everything costs more. So power should be something that we can at least rely on and be able to afford without sacrificing groceries, sacrificing sports for our kids.
There it is. Okay, we're going to wrap it up there because that's exactly how I feel. Anyway, all right. Are you having a good conference, Clarke?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Why?
Well, it's nice to visit New Orleans. I've never been here.
Really? Is this the first time?
First time. Yeah.
Where are you staying?
Just a hotel down the street, Le Meridian.
Oh yeah, I know. Oh, absolutely. Did you? What type of food? Everything is food.
Yeah, we've had Creole so far.
Yeah.
Looking forward to, I think, Cajun tonight. So.
Where are you going? Do you know?
Place.
Because I'm from here, not New Orleans, but I live in a town across Lake Pontchartrain, so it's always about food.
I'm a reservation expert. I think we went to Creole House last night.
Creole House, just right down there.
To
Galliano's.
And Rebirth.
That I don't know.
I have heard good reviews, but all my research comes from the internet, so you never know. You can only trust 50% of it.
No, I don't know. That's the World Wide Web, of course. Why wouldn't you trust it? Absolutely. All right, Clarke, let's talk carbon capture. And what does that carbon capture look like? So in the world of generation, so how do you capture carbon?
Well, I'm going to keep it high level. I'm an electrical engineer, but
what, you yell at MacKenzie over there?
Yeah, well, no, I can give you the high level. So I mean, he's the expert. So I can dumb it down, but basically CO2 is produced by burning fossil fuels. Comes out the exhaust stack, as you're aware of. It's hot, but it's a very small concentration. It's about 3 to 5% of the flue gas concentration. So you have to capture that somehow, and there are various technologies. We work with various licensors. The old standby is an amine carbon capture system, where the amines, basically you contact the flue gas with an amine solution and it strips the CO2 out of it.
What do you do with it?
What do you do with it? Well,
yeah, I mean, it's a hair. I've captured it. I've caught it. Now what?
Now what? Well, it typically comes out very wet, I guess it's water saturated, and there's a lot of particulates. There's things you need to take out of it, basically. You need to purify it. So first you need to purify it, you need to dehydrate it, and you need to compress it. And from there you basically just push it down a hole.
Ah, so that's how you get rid of it. But Caitlin, is there an industrial application for that captured carbon? Do you know?
So
is that one of those questions that I think you can handle
all the time?
Oh, there you go.
What do we do with our carbon?
Come on.
And the answer is you can either sequester it, so exactly like Clarke said, you can put it down a hole and then it's essentially trapped for infinity, or you can utilize it. So that's another conversation that we have with people who are looking to capture their carbon. They can find a commercial partner and sell their carbon to, say, a beer company or pop bottling or food grade. There are different applications, and we can help you provide either options. So depending on what your commercial deals with it is, you can either capture it, sequester it, so keep it, put it down a hole, never to release back into the atmosphere, or you can find a partner to utilize it and sell it to, so that they're able to kind of reuse that carbon for another product.
Carbonization, like yes. So do you handle that? Like, let's say I'm capturing the carbon, right? I'm doing that, and I have a client that wants that captured carbon. Do you work with them on getting it to the right spec, Clarke?
Yes, absolutely. We get a spec from our clients that we need to meet, and we put in their proper equipment to do so. Exactly.
So, I'm tracking on this, but it depends. So the quality of the carbon all depends on what the client wants. If you sequester it, right? If you sequester it, who takes that? Is that like enhanced oil recovery type of stuff?
So enhanced oil recovery actually falls under the utilization side of it. So it's not sequestering it, because sequestering it is sending it downhole to be stored there for infinity. Yeah. It is being captured, and it is not going back into the atmosphere. Enhanced oil recovery is a way of utilizing the CO2, so you can sell it to the partner, typically an oil producer, and they would use it then for that purpose.
See, that makes sense.
So that falls under the same idea as if you're going to sell it to, for example, a pop bottling company, soda bottling company. So they're going to use it for their purposes, or you can sell it for enhanced oil recovery for them to use as well.
See, it would be cool to be a pop bottling company and say, yeah, look at this, man. We captured this, and now it's in your drink.
That is just an example of whatever your commercial partnership would look like. You can find multiple uses.
Clarke, we're capturing that. Why are we making a dent? Does it impact us? There's a lot of generation out there. The technology, is it improving? Paint a picture of what that looks like.
Yeah, and I think we're making a dent. We were part of a very large project last couple of years, sequestering 2 million tons per year of carbon dioxide.
I don't even know what that looks like. Sounds like a lot, but
sounds like a lot. How do you imagine that?
I don't know. Is it bigger than a bread box?
Is it getting better? Yes, there are many bright minds all over the world thinking about this, trying to solve it, trying to make it economical, trying to make it viable. We're not there yet, but I'm sure we will.
So it's not economical to scrub those stacks and get that carbon out of there and do what you need to do?
Well, I mean, what's in it for the power producer? I mean, they're not making any money out of it, are they? The CO2
How come? I mean, it's coming out of their stack. Can't they make money out of it?
Well, with the volumes we're talking about, I don't think you can utilize that much CO2. Not today. Maybe down the road. Maybe there'll be use for it. But today, what are the uses for it? Like Caitlin said, there's EOR, but that is a form of sequestration as well. Pop bottling, I don't know how much carbon dioxide you can put into pop. I'm sure it's not millions of tons.
I was just going to say, it's, but I would imagine there's a lot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there are other ways to utilize the CO2 as well. There's talks of, you can make methanol out of it. You combine it with hydrogen and make methanol. So there's that side of thing needs to be solved too, right? What do we do with the CO2?
Yeah, but you guys live in an area where you get to play with all that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in Alberta. It's like there's great minds up there that are wrestling with all this.
Exactly. Yes.
Which brings me a good point. I mean, that's probably where the solution comes from. Alberta. I don't know what the state motto is. What is the Alberta state motto?
I don't know if we have mottos.
Calgary is the heart of energy.
There you go. It's not motivational.
Great minds, not very great naming.
Yeah, I was going to say. But, so, with that said, gas liquid engineering. Caitlin, take us through just in general what the business is all about.
So we are an engineering, procurement, and construction management firm.
EPC.
Yeah, exactly. EPCM. We do the construction management. We partner with other construction divisions and fabricators. So we definitely partner up with different individuals and different companies to best suit our clients to find the right solution for their project. We work across Western Canada, North America, down in Texas, down in the Midwest, all
you have
throughout
something
the US.
in Illinois, it's a dot.
We do. We've got a big carbon capture project in Illinois. There's a lot going on with the Midwest and ethanol working on carbon capture projects. So that's been a really interesting area to get involved with more.
But you do more, like you said, that EPCM.
Yep.
So there's a lot more to that.
Absolutely.
Is it strictly in the world of oil and gas or generation? What verticals do you find yourself in, Caitlin? In
energy. So oil and gas has been our traditional business model, but we've definitely expanded into the power generation, into working with hydrogen clients, into working on the renewable fuels. We've had some really, really interesting projects with ice cream creameries.
Don't leave it hanging. What do you mean by that?
Well, they have refrigeration needs.
They do, because it's ice cream.
We've been able to really work with quite a few different industries on some interesting projects. But in the last few years, what has really kept our interest is the carbon capture side, the hydrogen side, the renewables continue to be a part of the conversation, along with and pairing with the natural energy projects, the natural gas projects, the ones that we've always worked on for the last 37 years.
Clarke, what are we talking about from renewables? Give us an example of what renewables are.
Renewables, well, for us...
I know what they are. I used to negotiate the contracts, but for you, what are we talking about?
So we're not talking about solar or wind. We're not involved in that. We have been in the periphery a little bit. We're talking about sustainable aviation fuel, ethanol to jet fuel.
No way.
Renewable diesel.
Which is a hydrocracking fat anyway. That's sort of the renewable side. Is there with the renewable diesel? It's always the feedstock, sustainable, the consistent feedstock.
Yes.
Along with other things, but the technology is the technology, but it's like that constant flow of feedstock is always key.
Yeah, which in our case is canola oil, the ones we've worked on.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
What like fields and fields of canola oil?
Fields of canola being brought to a facility to be turned into diesel. Exactly.
How's that been? Can you turn that into aviation fuel?
I believe so. Again, I'm not the expert, but I think...
Let me start pulling on that thread to make you feel uncomfortable, Clarke.
Yeah, asking the electrical engineer about process.
Yeah, no, don't ask me. It's just so for the listener out there, the canola is... Are they the yellow plant, that golden yellow?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
It's fields and fields of it up in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation where you can see Saskatoon and it's still 5 hours away.
Hey, I'm from there. That's where I was born.
Yeah, it gets cold.
It gets very cold. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Caitlin, as the business development, outside of carbon capture, outside of renewables, what other areas that you've been listening to that sort of pique your interest?
Well, traditionally we work with midstreamers, so in the gas processing. That would be our bread and butter. And we're always there to continue to support those types of projects.
Well, good. That's positive. Caitlin, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, you can check out our website, gasliquids.com, or you can stop by our booth. We're right across from the Industrial Talks podcast.
That's right. And it's booth 3325. It's on the ground right there. It's not as if I remember it. And you, Clarke, how do they get a hold of you?
Same thing. Yeah, go to our website. Stop by the booth. I can give you one of my cards. Give me a call anytime.
There you go. All right, listeners, we're going to have all the contact information for both Clarke and Caitlin out on Industrial Talk, so fear not. Reach out to them. You will not be disappointed. Mad skills. They're nice people, too. See, I just blew that in. It's just nice people. All right, we're going to wrap it up on the other side, so stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right, once again, thank you very much for joining Industrial Talk, and thank you for, once again, your continued support of this platform. That was Caitlin, and that was Clarke with an E, so make a note of that. That's Clarke with an E. The company is Gas Liquid Engineering, and the event was PowerGen in New Orleans. If you're in that space, if you're in that market, and you want to connect with incredible people like Caitlin and Clarke, you need to attend PowerGen. It is a must. It's easy. You need to find out more, which will be out on Industrial Talk, as well as connect with both Caitlin and Clarke out on Industrial Talk. We're building a platform. Industrial Talk is a platform that is dedicated to industrial professionals. You have a podcast, you have technology, you need to put it out on Industrial Talk. It is an ever-expanding ecosystem of industrial professionals that want to collaborate with you, that want to innovate, and definitely want to educate. So go out to Industrial Talk and support more and be out there. That's a must. All right, be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Hang out with these two, and you'll change the world. We're going to have another great conversation shortly.